Hey, what's up, everybody? We are back. That's right. Run It Back is back. And can I just say, first of all, this is probably the biggest week of basketball news, stuff happening in the NBA that I've ever experienced. It's that kind of show. I'm Suli McCullough. My co-host Dan Ratner is here. Let's just get to it because we don't have a lot of time. We got too much stuff to talk about.
Way too much. Okay, let's get straight to the jersey. Which one are you wearing?
Well, I had to do it. I'm all in. I had to do it. Number 13, Los Angeles, Paul George. Yes.
PG-13.
Yes.
Listen,
PG-13.
He showed up in a way that we've never really seen before.
Yes. It was, I have to say, it was one of the most enjoyable Clipper games. It's in my top 5 Clipper games, good Clipper games that I've experienced.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Like, I was like, here's the thing. You set your expectations low, and then it's nothing but a reward. You feel good about yourself. It's really a good way to be a Clipper fan.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to get to this more later in the show, but remember, the Clippers were my pick to win it all.
Yes.
And then they went down 2-0, and I was like, well, I guess my pick's not working. And now how am I looking?
Yes.
It looks better.
You're looking pretty good. Pretty good.
This
Oh, yeah, and what shirt? What shirt?
This says
BU, they'll adjust.
Now, the reason I'm wearing this shirt just very quickly is that this is kind of how the NBA, this is one of the things I love about the NBA.
Yes.
There's room for individualism. People are who they are, and people do adjust. Doesn't happen in the other leagues.
Okay.
Does not happen in the other leagues. So I just wanted to say that.
I like that. That T-shirt at first confused me because I just pictured somebody going nuts on a plane and doing something unruly and trying to justify it by saying, be you, they'll adjust.
All right, I'm just going to make a shout-out for mental health. If you know who you actually are, you're not going ballistic on a plane. So
I like that.
Nothing bad comes out of who you actually are. You can misbehave, but that's not who you really are. All right.
That's good. I like that. A little knowledge. Let's jump into prime cuts.
Let's do it.
Because we got a lot to talk about.
We already had so much, and then we heard something this morning about Kemba Walker being traded. So you take us through it.
Has been traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's going to OKC.
Yeah.
What's going on?
And listen, OKC has all those picks. So there's a weird way in which I'm really happy for Kemba Walker.
Really?
I know it doesn't sound like he's getting banished, but I don't think so. He's about to join a cast of young guys that could be really dynamic and exciting. They don't have them yet, but they're going to draft him.
Right. Well, OKC has 3 first-round draft picks in this year's draft. They have 18 draft picks total. I always liked Kemba Walker. I think Kemba Walker, like, his run in the NC2A tournament was magical, special. I love an undersized point guard. I was really rooting for him when he first went to Boston. I thought that that was the perfect fit for him, and he was going to get a chance to show his game in a larger way. I don't know if that fit necessarily worked. I wish him nothing but the best. He's one of my favorite players. Really like what he does. But yeah, it's that his time in Boston has done. And Brad Stevens, quickly as he's ascended into the role of GM, is already making power moves.
Yep. I hear that he could be promoted to owner if he makes a mistake. If he makes a mistake. All right. Now listen. We thought the number one story was going to be Chris Paul because he's out with COVID all of a sudden.
Yes.
On the brink of the Western Conference Finals, and that's a huge story.
It's gigantic. Before this Kemba Walker trade story, which just happened right before we started, yes, we have to talk about Chris Paul. CP3 is in COVID protocol for a positive test. Yeah. That is crazy because, first of all, the Suns were a feel-good story. They swept their way into the Western Conference Finals. Like, it was looking like, oh, it's finally going to work out for Chris Paul. He's not labored with his injuries. He overcame that the shoulder thing. I was even enjoying his Allstate commercials more. Like, everything was looking up. And then out of the blue, how does this happen?
Yeah, no, and we're not done with this ride. He could be back pretty soon.
Yes.
We don't know what it's going to be like. But
Yes.
the Suns sweeping the Nuggets, I wasn't all that impressed with the Nuggets, honestly. But even so, to sweep a team like the Nuggets is a big deal.
With the MVP. They had the MVP.
Right, and the Suns were the number 2 seed in the West, and we were kind of gauging, are the Jazz or Suns really as for real as, we rep them here.
Right.
The Suns, to me, showed they're for real. I could
Yes.
see them winning it all because they have Chris Paul. But
Sure.
now with Chris Paul out, who knows?
Yep.
Now,
Yep.
speaking of that, we've got the Clippers have their own situation.
This
What's
is
the deal?
Prime Cuts is really, really, it's dramatic. I feel like Prime Cuts should be on Netflix.
Yeah, it should. This episode for sure. So Kawhi Leonard is out indefinitely. When I hear the word indefinitely, that's scary.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's frightening. And
with a right knee
this
sprain.
is Mr. Load Management. Like, for the previous season, load management was an issue. He wasn't really load managing this year. The Clippers were also one of those teams. That's your pick to win it all. I rep the Clippers wholeheartedly. And this news it broke me. It really broke me. Because I just felt like without Kawhi, without your number one A1, how are you going to move forward? How's the team going to respond? It just felt like I honestly thought, are the Clippers cursed? Do I have to just accept that this is a curse that is bigger than all of us?
All right, now listen. I'm going to answer that question because I'm a Cleveland fan. I'm well versed in curses.
Okay.
You are cursed, but curses will be broken. You're currently cursed.
I like that.
But they all get broken.
You're coming with some good positivity on this episode of Run It Back, and man, do we need it.
Yeah.
The Kawhi thing. Here's something interesting about this season, and this season is unlike any other. Kawhi is the 8th All-Star to miss a playoff game this year. That is the most in a season in NBA history. The others are Anthony Davis, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, and Kyrie Irving. And if Chris Paul misses games because of the COVID issue, he would be the 9th. I mean, that's extraordinary.
Well, we're going to get to this later on something LeBron said about this because I think load management doesn't actually work. In fact, I think it works backwards. I think it weakens.
How so?
It weakens the mindset. It gets these players thinking they're delicate. You're seeing it in Major League Baseball, too. People are so worried all the time that the slightest little thing gets them all worried about it. We've got to get them back to feeling mentally strong. Okay, now, here's the plan for your Clippers.
That's a great segue, though. Mental strength is a great segue because without Kawhi Leonard, we have to ask ourselves, how did the Los Angeles Clippers respond? Like, did they wilt in the moment like everyone expected, or did they rise up to the occasion?
Yep, and there's a couple guys on that team that have some real mental strength that you've been seeing. Reggie Jackson's one of them. I
love Reggie Jackson. I have to say, Reggie Jackson might be my spirit clipper.
And I love that. And listen, where did he get that mental strength? You get it in lots of different places, but one place that you get it is 2021 or 2020, let's say, in Detroit. When you're just playing there and you're living through all that stuff.
Yes.
People don't realize all these players are coming in with their mindset from their experiences.
Yes. I agree.
And PG-13 with his leg injury, that actually probably gave him strength in the long run. It tests people. Well,
I also feel like in this social media era where people had pretty much wrote Paul George off, like he was pandemic P. And when Kawhi went down, everyone was like, okay, here's the opportunity for Paul George to show himself. He's probably going to lay an egg. But Game 5 was incredible because we finally saw playoff P in action. Yes, I was ecstatic. Paul George actually silenced the haters. It was beautiful.
It's
It was
a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful thing. He finished with 37 points on 12 of 22 shooting, had 16 rebounds, and 5 assists. He became the first player in franchise history to score at least 20 points in 12 consecutive playoff games and at least 30 points in 3 consecutive playoff games. It was incredible. I was really happy for Paul George because that was one of those moments where he easily could have wilted under pressure. I mean, easily. And it almost would have fit the narrative that exists about the Clippers. It was I went to bed that night just like I was smiling. I didn't even have to dream because my dreams had come true with Paul George's success.
Yep. Well, listen, as I said, the Clippers are cursed, but we see the curses just falling one by one by one. We got Boston Red Sox win the championship.
Right.
Then Cleveland wins a championship. Then the Chicago Cubs win the championship.
Right.
All curses are made to be broken. And this is this is why I made the call. I can see it. I feel like they're ready. So the plan is PG-3, PG-13, get them through this series. Get them through the Jazz.
We'll find out.
And then
They've
Kawhi
got
will
a
be
big
back.
game tonight. We'll see what happens. I actually am. I'm all in right now. I am all in. I think anything is possible. I think that win gave them confidence. They're at home. The cardboard cutouts are going to be there in full support. I'm with it. And I'm loving the contributions from Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, of course, and Terrence Mann. Young Terrence Mann was doing some things. And we had a Pat Beverly sighting. Pat Beverly stepped up in Game 5. So, Game 6, anything can happen. I'm rooting for the Clippers. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. All right. Now we're on to a Game 7. Because the Bucks, they pretty much hammered the Nets in Game 6.
Yes.
And, listen, we know that I'm always looking for any opportunity to root against the Nets right now. I have nothing against the Nets per se. I just don't like the big three, and James Harden rubs me the wrong way, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So
Game 6 was an interesting game. I watched this game last night, and I was like, okay, can Kevin Durant have another magical performance? Will the Bucks finally come together and realize they're the healthiest team left in the playoffs, and they should play like it? The score was 104-89, which didn't really do. That score doesn't do the game justice. The game was a little closer than that. Durant did put up big numbers again. He finished with 32 points and 11 rebounds. But the Greek Freak did his thing. He had 30 points, 17 rebounds. 17 rebounds is super impressive. And Chris Middleton really balled out. He had 38 points, 10 rebounds. He seemed to make big shots when the team needed it the most. This is an interesting stat about the Greek Freak and Chris Middleton. They joined Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal as the only teammates in NBA history to each record 30-point-plus game, 10-rebound games in the same game twice in a single NBA playoff series. So that's pretty interesting.
That's pretty rare.
Anytime
company.
you're mentioned with Kobe and Shaq, that means that you were doing something right. And, there have been significant knocks on both the Greek Freak and Chris Middleton. I like Chris Middleton. He surprises you every now and again. He's not a guy that can create off the dribble, but when he's got it going, he is fun to watch.
Okay, now I'm just going to say one thing, which is that KD in Game 5, though, he went off, and I've got to say this. He almost became the first player in history to put up the same numbers that the Greek Freak and Chris Middleton did just by himself twice. He almost did that average twice.
Yes, we absolutely have to give KD his moment. That game, that Game 5, we have to spend some time on that because it was legendary KD. It was legendary KD.
He almost averaged 30 points and 10 rebounds a half.
Yes. Yes.
It was close.
It was incredible. He went for 49 points in 48 minutes. That's more points than minutes. Specifically, KD's stat line was 49 points, 17 rebounds, 3 block shots, and 2 steals. Okay? KD was all-time easy money sniper, and he went straight Rucker Park on the Bucks. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
Here's another reason I love Giannis. He said of Durant, he's the best player in the world right now. The Greek Freak had just gone off for 34 points and 12 rebounds of his own.
Yes.
And but I love rooting for Antetokounmpo. He just, the guy cares about being right about things. He's not putting on a front. I just love that dude.
Yes.
I'm pulling
for
him.
Last week I said that he's very Will Smith, but I would even go a step further, and this is a little more of an obscure reference, but I think he has a dash of Michael Landon in him.
Oh, wow. That is an obscure reference. Wow. Oh my God. What was it? Was it Highway to Heaven? Am I remembering that?
Yes,
Okay, yes,
that's exactly what I was thinking. The Highway to Heaven. Antetokounmpo has a Highway to Heaven Michael Landon vibe.
He does.
To him.
There's almost a little bit of an after school special feel to it.
Yes.
You're like, oh my God, it feels so good.
Yes. It was fun to see Twitter explode. I mean, everyone was watching this game and just marveling at what KD was able to do. One of the things that I loved the most was someone said, this was a spiritual experience. Thank you, Kevin Durant. Which was fantastic.
Listen, that's the essence of great sports right there.
Yes. That was really fun. And also what I loved about it, too, was as everyone was heaping these accolades, and deservedly so, like this is those superstar performances that you love to see. But what I love the most is KD in true KD fashion kind of downplayed it after the fact. He was just like, it's just a game. Yeah, we won, but we got to get another win or it doesn't mean anything. And I thought, that's Kevin Durant also. It's like, as remarkable as he is, he's also this terse voice of reason.
Yep. And I love that. And look, this game 7, who's going to win it? It really is going to be about who makes the mental leap to me.
Right.
Is it going to be the Greek Freak or is it going to be Durant? And I know it's funny to say Durant needs to make a mental leap, but he's never won it as the main guy. He really hasn't.
And he clearly is the main guy. One of the things, too, about that Game 6 was I really watched Harden in Game 6, and Harden is clearly not right yet. He is gutting it out, and, he's on the floor even though he probably shouldn't be. And he just can't go like he normally goes. Like, if you watch Harden normally, he's able to use his body and get past his defender without even really trying. And he's not even trying now. Like, he's like, look, I'm going to be on the floor as a decoy. If you leave me open, I'm going to shoot it. But he doesn't have that explosion. Hopefully, in Game 7, he gets a little bit more of his beard mojo back, and he's able to make a contribution. But I do like what I'm seeing out of Harden. It's a pretty gutsy performance for somebody that's not 100%.
Yep. No, that's the good part of Harden. He's a competitor, and
yes.
he's gutting it out. So
yes.
It's hard for me to not wish him luck, but I'm not going to wish him luck because I want to see something else happen. All right, so let's talk about the Sixers collapse. What happened, Suli?
Let me tell you something. I watched that game, and I was like, I haven't really been giving this series the attention that it deserves, partly because how you feel about the Nets is kind of how I feel about the Sixers. I like Doc Rivers. I respected that Joel had this great year this year, but that team is fundamentally flawed, and I feel like they're ultimately going to disappoint you. So I am rooting for the Hawks. I'm a Trae Young fan. I watched him on the come up. I love that they counted him out, and he's only over-delivered. I root for a dude that people count out who over-delivers, because that is a lot of what my comedy and my comedy career specifically are all about. This game was crazy. The Hawks erased a 26-point deficit to beat the Sixers 109-106 to take a 3-2 series lead. It is the third largest second-half comeback in NBA playoff history. Trae Young was incredible. He had 39 points. Ben Simmons, his free throw struggles continue. They're employing the hack-a-shack via Ben Simmons, which is working to a T. The collapse of this game, it was like watching a Greek tragedy unfold in Philly with the stank remnants of cheesesteak on your breath. Okay, that's what this was like. And Dr. J and Allen Iverson were in the house.
Yeah,
they were there.
That's part of what made it a Greek tragedy with cheesesteak. You know,
on your breath.
Yeah, with cheesesteak on your breath. Yeah, it wasn't just cheesesteak.
I mean, it was an epic collapse. It was an epic collapse. It was I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie. I really enjoyed it.
Everybody likes watching a train wreck every once in a while.
Yes, and it was exactly that because Seth Curry had a great game. Joel Embiid had good numbers. Nobody else on the Sixers scored. We played a game called Overpaid or Underrated, and one of the key members of the Sixers was in that game, and you said that they were underrated until I told you they make $34 million a year.
But let's remember, I didn't understand the game at that point. That was the first one I played, and I was like, oh, he's an underrated player.
Yes.
But he's not underpaid.
That game speaks to this moment.
Yep, I agree.
It speaks to this moment, and it speaks to this moment in a big way. Seth Curry, like 36 points. It was like he borrowed his brother's shoes for the afternoon and just went off, okay?
Yeah.
Like he went off.
Listen, anybody on the Del Curry could have done that still.
Yes, exactly. Del Curry could still do that.
Now, let me just say
on Del Curry.
No, he's amazing. Now, let me just say one thing. The Sixers, if they lose this series, there's talk that they might blow it up.
And I think that makes sense. I think you should blow it up. I think that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid do not complement each other at all. It's like one of those Hollywood superstar couples where you're like, this is about to be over.
Okay, but I'm going to have a little bit of an alternate take, and then we're going to get to all NBA first team stuff. Okay, so I don't think that you blow up a team based on one series or one game. I agree with you that if the chemistry is not there, that's when you blow it up. So that's the part I agree with you on. I don't think you blow up the whole team, though. I think you make some kind of lateral move where you bring in different team chemistry, but this team's still built to compete. I wouldn't blow it up yet. That's my take.
All right. Well, we'll see how they do moving forward and if they get out of this series. I think winning cures everything, and this is exactly that's what's going to cure this ailment.
Yep. Okay, now we're going to get to the announcement of the All-NBA first team, second team, and third team, and I think
isn't this a meaty prime cuts?
Yeah, it is. And meanwhile, it's a meaty All-NBA first team, second team, and third team, because I think what I'm seeing is that the league is deeper than maybe ever before.
Yeah, there's I don't want to say there's parity in the league because I don't know if there's parity, but there is a lot of really, really good players that are holding it down. Like there's not just 2 or 3 superstars. We've got at least 20 that can easily be in the top 15.
One of the reasons is because it's international now.
Yes.
There's just so much more room for talent.
Yes.
Than there used to be. But man, listen to the first team. The 2 guards.
Okay.
Steph Curry with 496 votes. The only one who got more than him of the 2 are the Greek Freak at forward, and Jokic got 2 more votes than him. So those are the top vote getters. Those 3. Luka Doncic gets in at guard. I think it's well deserved.
Absolutely.
And Kawhi Leonard makes it at the other forward position. I mean, it's hard to argue with that team.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Seth Curry, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kawhi Leonard, and the MVP of the league, Nikola Jokic. That's a great first team. And it would be hard to take somebody off that team and replace them with someone else. When I look at that, I'm like, oh, I'm completely fine with that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, could you make the argument that you put Kevin Durant in Kawhi's place? I don't think so. Maybe, but that's maybe the only thing that you could go, you could put that person there. But
I seriously, I think they got it right. I mean, This is one time where I'm just like, and look, if you look at the all NBA second team, it's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, these are superstars, and these are guys that are option number one. They carry their team. They are the draw. So that's a nice representation of your league's best.
The guards are Lillard and Chris Paul. I mean, if you had that backcourt, you're winning the championship.
Yes, you're killing people. And your forward is a guy that names LeBron James. LeBron is second team.
Second team
All-NBA.
And LeBron got the least votes of everybody on the second team, and it's because he was out for some time, and the problems with the Lakers. But here's an impressive one. Julius Randle made it to All-NBA second team.
I think that's fantastic. It's fantastic. It's a credit to the hard work that he's put in, and then also speaks to the great season that the Knicks had. That is well-deserved. I don't have a problem with that. And your center is Joel Embiid, who was in the running for MVP. Another strong NBA second team. It could be NBA first team 2 years ago.
Yeah, and look, if the first team had two centers, Embiid would be there.
Right.
There's no question.
Right.
So, okay, now we get to the third team, which is still ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, it's like there are 5 All-Star teams in the NBA right now.
Absolutely. You've got Kyrie Irving at guard. You've got Bradley Beal at guard, who was in the scoring race with Steph Curry. So that's completely deserved. You've got Paul George at forward. Yes. Jimmy Butler at forward, who kind of had a down year this year, but still impressive at that position. And Rudy Gobert, the defensive player of the year, at center.
Now, let's talk about who's the biggest snub, because if you could make a list of the snub team, and it's absurd.
Oh, yeah, the snub team will kill you. They will run you out the gym. Now, the players that missed All-NBA, you have Celtics forward Jason Tatum. You have Russell Westbrook, who had an unbelievable year. James Harden, Bam Adebayo at center, and forward Zion Williamson, who had also an amazing year. Like, that team alone, if that were a team, that team could – I would like to see a tournament of 4, like the 3 all-star teams, like all-NBA teams, and then the all-snub team, have them play a tournament for fun and just see who takes it all. Like, I might do that on NBA 2K later on today, just because I can.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, if you had told me that Kyrie Irving would be the one of the 3 on the Nets that would have made these lists, I mean, Kevin Durant did not make it.
Yes. I mean,
he was out for a while, but come on.
Yeah. I mean, you've got the guys that were snubbed. You've got Harden, you've got Durant, you've got Devin Booker, you've got Trae Young, and Donovan Mitchell. Those guys are killers.
Really, Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell and Durant. Those are the ones that really jump out at me. Okay, listen, we got to move on. Prime cuts is so meaty, but we could have talked for hours about this.
Yeah, we got. I think we got to call an audible and get to your favorite segment of the show.
Yes,
which is, of course, Say What.
I just love it. I need to get a recording of you so I can just press that button in the middle of my day. All right, let's get to it. LeBron James, Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James, says he predicted a rash of injuries after a quick turnaround to the start of the season.
Yes.
And he published a series of tweets about the NBA fast-tracking this year. Right. And so you want to read the quote or you want me to?
I will. Do you want me to read the tweet or the let me just set this up, right?
Yeah.
So the bubble season ended. 71 days later, we're playing this season. And LeBron clearly has a problem with it, not being in this phase of the playoffs and seeing all these injuries. So this is what LeBron tweeted. they all didn't want to listen to me about the start of the season. I knew exactly what would happen. I only wanted to protect the well-being of the players, which ultimately is the product and benefit of our game. These injuries aren't just part of the game. It's lack of pure rim rest before starting up. 8, possibly 9 All-Stars have missed playoff games, most in league history. This is the best time of the year for our league, and fans are missing a ton of our favorite players. He also goes on to say that if there's one person that knows about the body and how it works all year round, it's me. I speak for the health of all our players, and I hate to see this many injuries this time of the year. Sorry, fans. You guys were seeing all your you aren't seeing all your favorite players right now. So this was LeBron, in my opinion, being Dad LeBron.
Yeah.
And Dad LeBron is mad that someone drank all the milk, put it back in the refrigerator instead of finishing it off and throwing it in the garbage can.
Yeah, this was him laying down the law. Dad LeBron is Mad LeBron. And yes. I think LeBron does have a point, but I have a slightly different take on his point. He's talking about what the taxing is on the body, but LeBron knows this well. He just didn't say it in this tweet. It's also what happens in the mind. We're expecting so much of these guys.
Right.
And they basically played like 2 back-to-back seasons.
Absolutely.
So mentally, that does stuff, and
yes.
And you know me, mentally is physical when it comes to how I think about it.
It's wholly connected. I also feel like too, this is uncharted territory for LeBron. Like LeBron has been to the finals for nearly a decade, and for him to be, in the later stages of his career, and not in the playoffs and having to sit back and watch, I'm sure that's bothering him.
Yep.
And, this was his way of pointing a finger, but there's little that you could do about it. Like, the only other alternative would have been to push back the start of the season to around MLK weekend, like January 17th, 18th. But would that have prevented these injuries? I don't know.
And listen, if you push back the season, then you end up pushing back the next season. We're gonna be adjusting for like 10 years. Eventually,
yeah. I mean, this is a strange time. Like, the pandemic has affected everyone. The NBA is a business. They had a specific window. I think the alternative of not having a season or having a truncated season, I think they may do with what they had to do in this moment. So I get what LeBron is saying, but it's almost like it is what it is.
Yep, I agree with you, Suli. All right, now let's get back to some normality. Let's go for a dunk.
Okay.
As usual,
right.
I haven't seen the dunk, but it is time.
Yes. And here we go with the dunk of the week. It clearly is. It's an homage.
Oh.
Yes. The great Kawhi Leonard. If we don't see Kawhi anymore in the playoffs, at least we have this nasty dunk on Derek Favors. And look at that. It makes people happy. There was a lot of force there. It was Kawhi going full robot mode. Fun guy decided to have his fun on Derek Favors.
Do you remember the superhero Plastic Man?
I do.
And of course, Stacey Augman used to be called Plastic Man.
Yes, which was a great nickname.
It was a great. Oh man,
and I love Stacey Augman.
But there was a little Plastic Man in that. It was like the elongation. Was just amazing.
Yes, and I could almost hear Kawhi in his brain saying, "Must dunk now."
Must dunk now.
Robot must dunk.
All right, let's get to who's hot or who's not this week. As usual,
man, we've got we've already talked about so much stuff. Who's hot and who's not is a speed round of another bit of exciting things that have happened in the NBA. First of all, hot, LaMelo Ball of the Charlotte Hornets wins the Kia NBA Rookie of the Year.
Very well deserved. Very well deserved.
He was the number 3 pick overall. He edged out Anthony Edwards, who I loved, who had a great season as well. Could have easily been Rookie of the Year had LaMelo not come back from injury. LaMelo came back. He restored faith in the game and well-deserved as an NBA Rookie of the Year. So I'm excited to see what he does from here on out. He has a bright future. He's fun to watch. He's exactly what you want the NBA to be.
And a quick shout out to Tyrese Halliburton also, even if he has a last name that makes it sound like he's a part of a plastics company or something like that.
Tyrese Halliburton's great. We root for the Kings. I'm a Kings fan. I want them to have the year that, I want them to make the playoffs.
All right, now let's go to coaches. The Pelicans part way with Coach Stan Van Gundy. I have a very soft spot in my heart for Stan Van Gundy because I think he's outspoken in a way that I just love the guy. I hated him when I was facing him as the coach because he was like this cheerleader for his team that really he was so mentally adept. I gotta give him that.
Yes,
he's out in New Orleans after one season.
I mean, this is weird. It's like after one season, I think they're making moves. There's grumblings that Zion isn't happy. So this is a story that I think we're going to revisit in later episodes because it seems like things are percolating down there in the Big Easy.
Now, here's a huge story. Now, I have daughters, so I love this.
Becky Hammond. I have a daughter. I do too. I love when daughters
We're all about daughters on this show. Sure. Becky Hammond and Dawn Staley are among the candidates for Trailblazers head coach vacancy. It's going to happen.
I love
It's going to happen. I don't know if it'll happen this time, but there's going to be a female head coach soon, and I think that's a good thing.
I'm a big fan of Dawn Staley, and I love Becky Hammond, so this is great. This is what we want. Progress, change, forward progression. It's 2021. Let's act like it.
Yep. Now, the Wizards move on from Scott Brooks. Two sides were unable to come up with an agreement on a contract extension. We know what that means. You'll reach an agreement if you want to keep him.
Exactly. And I think the bigger question with this story is what are the Wizards going to do with Bradley Beal, who has a player option next season, and Russell Westbrook. Scott Brooks, very familiar with Russell Westbrook, having coached him in OKC, really champions Russell Westbrook. So, sorry for Scott Brooks, but I'm sure he'll find another job somewhere eventually.
Yeah, well, he's got a good resume. He'll land on his feet.
Yes.
Now, Portland guard Damian Lillard has told USA basketball officials that he will play for the national team in this summer's Tokyo Olympics, according to multiple reports. He's not previously played in the Olympics, so that just gets a hot for sure.
Well, that's actually exciting as we're able to travel and do stuff. I used to always go to Las Vegas for USA basketball. It's a great way to see these great players. It's kind of like an all-star game, but with a purpose. So I highly recommend attending those games. That camp begins July 6th, and I will more than likely attend a game or two.
Okay, now, Donnie Nelson out as GM in Dallas, and Rick Carlisle out the door with him.
Big not hot.
Yeah, this is a big not hot, and it's why it gets separated from the other coaching stuff, because this is also the GM.
Yes.
Rumors are that Brad Stevens is going to be promoted to Dallas GM as well as Boston GM. He just is going to get every job. It doesn't matter what he does.
Well, the Donnie Nelson thing is, that's hilarious, but on its own accord, he was there for 24 years. And he was responsible for the trades that brought in Dirk and Luka. And he helped Dallas win their lone championship.
Yep. Obviously, there was some soul-searching going. And meanwhile, they just went to Game 7 with the Clippers. They just had a great season.
A game I attended, and I left that game happy that the Clippers won and also feeling like, oh, Dallas is in good shape. And lo and behold, we've got major changes happening during these playoffs.
All right, now we have to get to Devin Booker gifted the Suns in 4 fan with a signed jersey and playoff tickets. I believe we have footage.
Now, you don't, we first of all, let me catch you up on this story. Suns in 4 guy is a guy that got into an altercation with 2 Denver Nuggets fans. And we do have footage of this, and I think it begs itself for footage. So this is the footage of Suns in 4 fan. All right, he gets into it. They pour, the Nuggets guys pour a beer on him. He retaliates, and a fight ensues. As you can see, there's some, it gets a little hairy. Now, Suns and 4 guy clearly is throwing some blows.
He's holding one while hitting the other.
Yes. So gets a couple of extra shots in, right? Finally, it gets broken up, and Suns and 4 guy has some parting words. You see, they're wearing Jamal Murray jerseys, so they're mad. Jamal Murray's been out. These guys leave. Suns and 4 guy. Suns and 4. Well, he's become kind of a cult hero to the Phoenix fans, and Devin Booker reached out and is giving him a signed jersey and tickets to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, so listen, normally we wouldn't highlight somebody beating someone up on this show, but listen, even I as a therapist was like, wow, the guy had the confidence to be holding one while punching the other and just being like, I got to get in some punches on the guy I'm holding at the same time.
Yes.
The confidence.
Yes.
He's like living Suns in 4. Like,
yes.
You can just feel it.
And it came to be. It did. So, yeah, like I said, I wasn't sure if this was a hot or not hot. I figured we would talk about it and make the determination. But it kind of feels like a hot.
It's a hot. It is a hot. We're just gonna come down. We're gonna say it definitively. Now I'm gonna say
yes.
Now we'll do a little feel good moment to palate cleanse from that though.
Yes.
NBA players voted Damian Lillard the Twyman Stokes Teammate of the Year. This is a guy who's not holding someone and punching him and threatening other people and taunting.
Right.
Okay, he is the guy who got the most votes for Teammate of the Year. Very close behind him was Chris Paul.
Yes. Well, there you go. And I love the number 3 person, Udonis Haslem.
Yeah. See,
the veteran Udonis Haslem.
I mean, that's one of the great things about this award. You get players like Theo Pinson on there. You get Joe Ingles.
Yes.
You got Joe Harris.
Yes.
This is
Malcolm Brogdon, who's a good dude.
Absolutely.
Like, you get guys that have game but also have character. And I'm sorry, post-pandemic, character counts, people.
It sure does. Okay, it is time for Sneaker Vault. After last week, I'm so excited.
Yes, I've noticed you like the colorful shoes. Because of KD's epic performance, I went with a pair of, these are the KD8s. KD is up to his 14th signature shoe now. So these are the 8s, and I really like these a lot. These are called the Suits, and what these are based on, they are based on the suit that KD wore when he got his MVP in 2014. So I love that. And, great colorway, purple with the green apple accents. This is a baller shoe. Like, if you show up on the court wearing these, you better knock down some shots. And this was also, I found these at the golden age of finding great sneakers at Marshall's. This was a Marshall's come up that I was very happy to add to the collection. The KD8 Suits. Yeah.
Beautiful
KD
shoes.
Was awesome. And we'll see if the awesomeness continues in Game 7.
Now, it really is true. If you're going to wear those shoes, you're not flying under the radar.
No. And did you see they coordinate with the Stay in School NBA hat?
They do. I love it.
Do you see how I'm working there?
Yep.
It's a thing. We got a thing happening.
Okay, so we're going to go to final thoughts, and we're going to talk about all NBA team selections in a different way.
Yes.
This is another thing we do on this show. We look at the broad picture.
Yes. The business of basketball. Not only do we look at the psychological aspects, the mental aspects, the physical aspects, but we also look at the bottom line because basketball is a business.
Yeah, and people may not realize it. They see these lists, and they're like, oh, that's nice. That's cool how they separated lists. These selections have major financial implications. Yep. So, Jason Tatum.
Well, first of all, here's the most glaring thing that we have to talk about. Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics received more votes than Kyrie Irving, but fell 20 votes short of the final forward spot. And because of that, he will lose out on a projected $32.6 million on his rookie scale extension.
I mean, say it again. I think
he will lose out on $32.6 million
because of a selection.
Because of 20 votes.
Yeah. I mean, and look, here's the other thing that we want to highlight. He fell short of it in part because of which positions we're choosing. Like we're
all
choosing,
NBA is 2 guards, 2 forwards, and 1 center.
Right.
So you're very limited in how you can pick a player. And as we know, the game has changed so much that it's positionless basketball.
It really is.
Is it really fair to pick 2 forwards, 2 guards, and a center instead of just the best 15 players in no particular order?
Yeah, no, this feels like somebody's playing on like a Nintendo Switch, and then they're playing against a team that's playing with an original Nintendo. Like, it's not the same thing.
Right.
At all.
Right. And I mean, that money is being left on the table because of these decisions.
Yep, and listen, I mean, I understand there's going to be a lot of people out there who are like, well, I'm not going to feel bad for these guys. They're making huge amounts of money, and it's true, but
sure,
it does feel pretty unfair to have something that punishing that's based on an arbitrary vote, and with these positions filling in. So I'm glad we highlighted it. You know, the money of the game, it is a part of the game. I mean, even salary cap structure. We'll get into more of that as we go.
Right.
The casual NBA fan may not know these things, but on Run It Back,
we give you the knowledge. We break it down. We're like secret bankers on this show.
Sully, this has been awesome as usual. I can't even believe we made it through what we had to make it through today.
Yeah, this was a lot. Like, this is one of those this is an episode of Run It Back you may have to watch twice just to make sure you get all the info.
You're gonna have to run it back.
Yeah, your belly is full. We won't be back next week. We are down next week. But the Western Conference Finals will kick in. When we are back, we will catch you up to all the nuances and everything that's going on in the Western Conference Finals. We are right around the corner from the NBA Finals, y'all. It is pretty exciting. This has been a great episode of Run It Back. As always, my co-host, Dr. Dan Ratner, is giving you the insight, the knowledge to quell your basketball thirst. I'm Suli McCullough. We will be back shortly. Thanks again, and go Clippers.